Hello everybody. As the sun slowly rises over the skies of Tunis, the capital of Tunisia, the streets begin to buzz with life. It's Friday morning, and from the narrow alleys of the old Medina to the sleek buildings of the city center, one sound ties everyone together: the Friday call to prayer. But there's something different in Tunisia. Not once. Not twice. But 3 times, the call to Friday prayer now echoes from several major mosques across the country. Take the historic Ez-zitouna mosque, a landmark of Islamic civilization in North Africa. Worshippers arrive in waves. At 12 o'clock noon, the first group enters. By 1 p.m., the mosque fills again. At 2 p.m., rows of prayer rugs once more line the floor. 3 times, 3 sermons, 3 Friday prayers. This isn't negligence. It's not disobedience either. It's a conscious decision by a nation in conversation with its times: Tunisia, a Muslim-majority country refusing to let physical limitations compromise the sanctity of worship. In the midst of growing urban challenges, traffic congestion, inflexible work hours, limited prayer spaces, Tunisia dared to try something different. The birthplace of the Arab Spring once again shows that its spirit of change is far from extinguished. And it all started with a simple question. How can every Muslim pray Friday prayers peacefully, if the mosques can't hold them all at once? The answer stunned the Muslim world. Stagger the time. Hold 3 rounds of Friday prayer. An idea that once felt taboo has now become reality in Tunisia. Not just in one mosque, but gradually expanding across others. A bold move that sparked curiosity, controversy, and admiration all at once. In a modest meeting room inside Tunisia's Ministry of Religious Affairs, not far from the heart of Tunis, a group of scholars, mosque imams, and public health experts sat in a quiet circle. Papers scattered across a wooden table, and cups of Arabic coffee had long gone cold. Their discussion centered on one pressing issue: mosques were overflowing every Friday noon. It was no secret. Come Friday prayers, sidewalks outside mosques turned into makeshift prayer spaces. Prayer rugs spread across the streets. Traffic came to a halt. Some worshippers, with no space left, ended up praying standing. If this keeps happening, we'll no longer be enabling worship, but chaos, said a senior imam from Al-Fati Mosque in Sfax. Then came a suggestion, one that silenced the room for a moment. What if we split the time? Hold Friday prayers 3 times. Different sermons. Worshippers come in waves. Brows furrowed. 3 Friday prayers in one mosque. Wasn't that against tradition? But as data surfaced, rising numbers of worshippers, limited mosque capacity, the safety risks of uncontrolled crowds, minds began to shift. Perhaps this wasn't about breaking tradition, but about preserving the soul of worship amid new realities. And that's where it all began. Ez-zitouna Mosque was chosen for the pilot. This ancient mosque, standing since the 8th century, wasn't just symbolic, it was an intellectual beacon of Islam in Tunisia. That first Friday of 3 separate prayer sessions was tense. The first imam climbed the pulpit at 12 p.m. Worshippers filled the main hall. After the prayer, cleaning crews swept in, disinfecting, organizing, resetting. At 1 p.m., the adhan rang out once more. A second wave arrived, as if the day had just begun. A different sermon was delivered, another prayer performed. Then at 2 p.m., the final wave entered. It all ran smoothly. No shoving. No one left praying on scorching sidewalks. No blaring horns from gridlocked traffic. Only calm, and a quiet sense of awe. It worked. And somehow, it felt more peaceful. Though it looked like a logistical fix, the decision wasn't made lightly. Religious scholars dug deep into Islamic jurisprudence. In exceptional circumstances, some schools of thought permit multiple Friday prayers in the same location if it serves the public good and protects communal well-being. Tunisia leaned into that nuance. This isn't a habit. It's not a cultural novelty. It's ijtihad, said Sheikh Habib Tounsi, one of the scholars behind the policy. We're not altering the faith. We're adapting its implementation, so that no one is denied their right to worship. The first trial was a success. But Tunisia knew this was just the beginning. Ahead lay public reactions, theological debates, and questions from the global Muslim community. But Tunisia was ready. Because sometimes, to keep faith alive, you must dare to do what was once unthinkable. Once the three-way Friday prayer policy was officially implemented in several major mosques, reactions surged like waves at sea. Some welcomed it with takburs, others raised skeptical eyebrows. In a corner of Tunis, a market vendor named Mafoud said enthusiastically, "Finally! I don't have to leave my shop for too long. I can join Friday prayer and still earn a living." Meanwhile, a Sharia student at ez-zitouna University shook his head softly. "This has never happened before. I worry it blurs the line between ijtihad and innovation." Sharp criticism came from conservative scholars outside Tunisia, especially from Gulf countries with stricter fiqh views. They argued that Friday prayer is valid only once in one place, and any repetition is invalid except in extreme emergencies. But this is Tunisia's argument. This is indeed an emergency, though not a natural disaster or war, but limited space, urban population explosion, and modern life rhythms. Open dialogue was encouraged. On national TV, scholars and Islamic intellectuals sat together discussing. Are we ready for Friday prayer more than once? The public slowly realized, this isn't about innovation or tradition, but about how Islam wisely and proportionally responds to reality. Behind the three-way Friday policy lay deep scholarly effort and fiqh considerations. It wasn't just an administrative decision but a result of collective ijtihad involving various schools of thought. In the Maliki madhab widely followed in Tunisia, there is a principle called sad az-zariya, blocking means of harm. If harm means a prayer that lacks khushu due to overcrowding, dividing time is seen as a valid solution. Sheikh Habib Tounsi explained in a national seminar. The mosque can no longer hold all worshippers. Should we let them pray in the streets, without sermons, without devotion? Or should we open a second and third session, while preserving conditions, pillars, and etiquette? This perspective revives the spirit of Maqasid al-Sharia, the main objectives of Islamic law, preserving religion, life, intellect, progeny, and property. In Tunisia's urban context, three-way Friday prayer protects all of these. More than that, this policy reminds us that Islam is not rigid, but flexible, relevant, and able to dialogue with its time, as long as core principles are upheld. Today, as three successive Friday calls echo over Tunisia's skies, the world looks at this small nation with admiration. In major mosques, congregants from all walks of life, laborious, doctors, students, even tourists, come and go according to their chosen time waves. No one feels excluded or left behind. Tunisia has not only provided a practical solution but opened the path for redefining worship practices in the modern Islamic world. Now, discussions about staggered Friday prayers resonate in Islamic universities in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Muslim communities in Europe and North America facing similar space and time constraints. Tunisia sends a strong message. Daring to change does not mean abandoning Sharia. Sometimes, it's the best way to keep it alive. The nation that once shook the Arab world with the Jasmine Revolution now shows again that change, done with knowledge, wisdom, and good intentions, can be a blessing, not a threat. And perhaps in the future, when the world's big cities brim with Muslims of all nations, they will look to Tunisia and say, "We started this, because they dared first."